today. Go around the room and tell who's here. Sure. Go ahead.
Dawn DeSorcy, staff.
Jay Klinkfor, staff.
Tom Eklund, commission member.
Tom Reum, Alderman, Commission Member.
Lee Tao, commission member.
And it looks like I have Mayor Blazer and Commissioner Boren and somebody say that Patrick was on there too?
Yep.
Okay, Patrick on there. Anybody I'm missing? Is that Chris?
Chris Bartlett.
Yep.
Yep.
It's a small screen from here. I don't have it in front of me. Okay, great. So, called meeting to order, and we're considering approval of the Wisconsin Rapids Aquatic Center party packages and group rates. So, Dawn?
So we took a look at some of the other municipalities and what their group rates and their birthday party and party package rates are, which is how we came up with the rates that we had. We factored in some of the costs of food, if they were the food parties, just kind of came up with what would be a good cost for them based on what it's going to cost us. We've had a lot of requests for these, which is why we went ahead and came up with these. We were going to do it last year, and then with COVID, we didn't really have a lot of rentals. So this year, a lot of rentals are coming in, and there is interest in purchasing party packages. So that's why we put together what we did.
Any further? Go ahead.
A couple of questions. The different categories, like the first two splits out between swimming and use of the room or space and food. Then the next ones, there's like a slash. Is that the additional passes and pizzas, or what's the difference there?
Yes, that would be just the difference between those. I could have probably put the ones above the same way, but
And the way I read this, it's only the Rapids room that's eligible for non-resident?
that's how the shelters are split out. That's the only one that actually we do charge a non-resident rate for. So that's why it's reflected in these costs.
And we did not have anything established before, you said, right?
We did
Correct.
not.
No.
It was requested quite a few times, but with COVID, we didn't have a lot of rentals. So we thought this would be a good year to try it, and we can see how it works, if the rates are fair to people, if we get feedback on it, and we can kind of go from there for next summer. Or we could change them this summer yet if we would need to.
Any other further?
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, I have a quick question, sorry. So with the slashes, 350 slash 450, 450 slash 550, what's the $100 difference? Because initially I thought it was resident versus non-resident, but now that's not making sense. So what's the difference?
So for the Rapids room, that would be resident versus non-resident, but the 350 versus to 450 would be based on how many swim passes they would get, and then how many
Oh.
pizzas they would get.
Oh, 20 or
Oh.
40.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
20 or 40.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yep.
Now I get it.
and there's no, again, just confirming there's no non-resident or resident distinction on the other three areas?
Correct.
Correct. That's the only one that was split out that way, the Rapids room.
What was the reasoning behind that, just out of curiosity?
Like if you were gonna rent out the Rapids room, like say during the winter months or fall when the pool isn't open, there is a difference between a resident fee and a non-resident fee, so we just kept it that way for the Rapids room.
So is this gonna be like published out on the website? I'm just wondering if it should be set up differently, because it's,
Like more user-friendly type.
well, like Craig had brought up and me as well, you know,
just not.
350 is for 20 passes, 450 is for 40 passes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I can
mean,
split
just-
that all out.
Just so it'd be organized a
Yep.
little bit.
Then I do plan to put it out on our website, definitely. But yeah, if it's more clear that way, I can do it that way.
Otherwise,
for
you're
sure.
gonna get a bunch of questions.
Mhm.
You're right.
Yep.
I also have a question on the other rentals. It just doesn't make sense because we have, even with the swim passes, we have a resident rate and then a non-resident rate, right? So wouldn't it be to their advantage to take advantage of using these other areas? And then they would just get the automatic cheaper swim passes for non-resident?
Well, resident and non-resident will cost the same for general admission.
Okay.
A resident can purchase the punch pass, which would be the $4 per entry, but they'd have to purchase 5 of them up front, so it'd be $20.
Okay.
But the general admission would be $7, so they would have a little bit of savings there by renting a shelter or having a large group.
Okay.
So the theory is that these would all be non-season ticket holders when they do this. They can't,
Correct.
they get their passes with them.
Right.
So,
Correct.
Yep.
so then why on the other 2 rooms are we upcharging? I mean, I prefer to upcharge the whole thing myself, but
So you like to separate it between, for each cabana?
I think non-residents, the taxpayers are paying for this building, I think non-residents should pay an upcharge on all of it. It was my personal feeling. I don't know what the remainder of the commission feels.
We can make any changes if
Yeah,
you
we're
feel.
just bringing this for you guys to look at, so.
So were the other sources you questioned, did they have anything
don't-
for resident or
No,
non-resident?
they have nothing for, everyone's the same price. There's no non-resident, there's no resident fee.
I understand if we're trying to bring rental in from outside the community as well, I understand the impact of that too. But it seems if we're breaking up if the 2 Rapids rooms have a different structure, it's hard to justify it if we don't do it across the board.
Yeah, all you're saying is do it across the board, right?
Either across the board or not across, yeah. I just don't
Yeah.
see any difference in the Rapids room as opposed to the other 3.
That makes sense to me as well. I couldn't hear what the rationale was around why it wasn't there on the first 2. It was muffled a bit.
Don, I believe what you said is that daily passes, there is no, it's the same price. And so the theory is that people can't use their regular season pass to attend or to be part of this because they're not purchasing additional wristbands.
Right, well, their season pass wouldn't cover the party.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Right.
right. And there is a significant savings between season passes for
Mhm.
residents versus non-residents.
Yeah.
All of the rates for the shelters were approved back in October, so I just based these rates on what those shelter rates were, and that's when it was broken down for resident versus non-resident for the Rapids room. It's actually always been like that. That was kind of how it was proposed initially. You guys can definitely make changes to that in the future if you'd like to, that they would all be that way. At this time, this is what the rates had been set at, so that's how I calculated out kind of what would be a fair price for the food and the shelter and, you know, the additional items for parties.
At one time, we talked a little bit about nonprofits too, using these areas, but I don't think we ever,
We did approve that, actually.
we did.
That was for our main shelter, so the Rapids room would be part of those. And that would be Monday through Thursday. That was part of our rental agreement for the other shelters.
So if it's a nonprofit, Do they pay anything?
They would get one free rental per year, and that would be Monday through Thursdays, that they could take advantage of that. That's how it's been set up in the past, and that's how the language was added into the rental agreement. I'm not sure which month that was approved, but that was also brought to the commission.
Any other thoughts out in Zoom land?
Yeah, this is Patrick. I guess I have one question, and maybe I missed it in previous, meetings. But so, in essence, someone's going to call and reserve these, or they walk up to admissions. Is there a cancellation policy, or inclement weather policy? Do we have something backed up that if someone reserved it and it rains, they get their money back? They don't get their money back. Do we have a policy set forth for our shelters?
We do. It's cancellation within 10 business days, but for something like the aquatic center outdoor areas that the pool would not be open, then we would work with them on either another date or refunding for them.
Lee or Tom, do you have any questions on this?
Somewhat, I think to echo some of what you maybe said is that, keep in mind, the taxpayers are the ones that, the city taxpayers are, the ones that are footing the bill. In my own mind, I wonder maybe if we didn't go too far maybe on what non-residents have to pay in that, before, but, as the first go over this and the first, listening to what the comments are, my inclination is to vote no.
Well, I'm sure it'll happen that a non-resident's gonna reserve one of these, and then a resident's gonna come and ask for the same date or time. It's just gonna happen. So, it's probably the way you have it right now, first come, first serve.
We actually haven't had, and I don't know if it had anything to do with COVID, but we didn't have a lot of rentals for the cabanas last year. So we had hoped that maybe this would be a way to get those rented and utilized a lot more. I don't know if it will help or not, but like I said, we did get requests for party packages. And last year, we didn't rent out the family area shelter at all.
No. I
So
think
this is
we-
kind of a trial for this year, I guess.
Yeah.
but-
I think we rented out the cabanas 2 or 3 times last year, and that was without any of these, obviously, swimming and food packages, so I guess we're just trying to get people to utilize these cabanas that really don't come to any, they don't really cost us anything to maintain or upkeep, just pick up the garbage after they leave, so we're just trying to entice
Well, yeah,
people to
it'd be-
use them.
Shame to see them sit empty.
Right, yeah, which,
This is Chris. I wonder on some of the rates, like the higher ones for the Rapids room, would it be better to leave it so they rent the room and then you have a price per person? Like, 'cause to rent the room is $150, right, for a resident, or $250 for a non-resident? And then just do a rate per person?
So, Chris, are you saying to remove everything else and just have the option that they could buy the swim passes for $5 each, and then they're kind of on their own for the food purchases?
Well, I noticed like some of the other areas like Schofield and Weston, they have kind of a birthday party package where they lump the pizza and an ice cream or whatever and a swim ticket for like $8 a person or something like that. I don't know if that would be easier to manage for people.
yeah, we could try it again. We're just bringing this to you guys to give I don't know, your opinions on what we can do or what you would like to see us try to do. This is kind of like we look at this year as our first year being open. Last year was kind of a trial run, so we're just trying to use the park to our best abilities, and yeah, so again, we're just trying this out and definitely taking everyone's opinion.
Well, again, it's that, whether we want to draw in income from outside of Wisconsin Rapids, or draw in revenue, excuse me, revenue from outside of Wisconsin Rapids, or whether we have to face the minimal to possible major wrath that we get for charging the same price for non-residents to taxpayers. That's a tough one for me.
Unfortunately, that's going to be tough to change now because these rates have been out there since they were approved, which I can double check, but I thought it was October when we had gone over all of the rates for rentals and then the season passes and daily passes. So I'm pretty sure that was in October that those were all approved.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't change them in the future, but this might
Oh,
be
yeah.
a tough time to do
Well, I know,
it.
but we do have it in these two rooms. And so there's been a non-resident, I'm not familiar, there's been a non-resident and resident rate for the Rapids room without all the extras? Okay,
Yep, correct.
I heard Chris say that, I didn't know that.
Because that room you can
I
rent.
didn't know the single number, so.
Yeah, that room you can rent the entire year, even in the wintertime too. so.
Gotcha.
So yeah, before the cabana and the family area shelter, there was no non-resident, resident difference in renting those before. So now we're just trying to add on the swimming passes and then add on to the food as well.
Can you just go over, since I'm not, can you tell me the rental rates for the rooms without, if we were just renting the room without all these additional things? So the cabana, how much does it cost to rent the cabana?
The cabana is, if you have a season pass, it's $20 per hour. And then if not, it's $25 per hour.
Okay,
The family area shelter is $80, and that would be for the full pool hours for each day. And then Rapids room is either $150 or $250 based on your residency.
so basically, for that first item, it's $60 would be the rate, and then $90 for the swim.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Any further discussion?
Hey, Dean,
Yes,
this is Shane. I'll make a motion that we approve the rate structure for the Wisconsin Rapids Aquatic Center party packages. You want to try it this year?
I'll go ahead and second that. Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Blazer, a second by Benneman for the party packages as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition? The ayes have it with one opposition. Anything further then? The next item on the agenda, go ahead.
I have a quick question, Dean, sorry. So are we still gonna meet on Monday the 14th, or don't we know yet?
I believe that we're meeting the second Monday, right?
That would be our regularly
Yeah, we're
scheduled
supposed to,
meeting.
that's our normal meeting.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, with the,
We are planning on it,
Okay.
if everybody's able to attend, yes.
Okay, I'll bring up my conversation at that time then.
okay. Great. Next, item on the agenda is adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 11:22. Thank you, everybody.